Okay. So then what is the purpose of the Docker file? So what is the purpose of the Docker file? Our own customized images we can create from Dockerfile. Our own customized images we can create from Dockerfile. Okay. So Dockerfile having set of instructions. From those instructions, we are building Docker images. Say, if you use the default, like images, say we may have OS level images or base images. What is the problem is you don't get your customizations. What is meaning of customizations? My code is maybe not there, or my build is maybe not there, or my own settings in the application, or my own certificates. Okay, say my own like environment variables. All these I want to set it. I want to configure my own ports on those container. So, but what is the by default we are getting? Those only we need to use. If we want to customize, so how we can build our own customized images? How we can build our own customized images? So using the Docker file, we can build our own customized. We can build our own Docker customized images. We are going to build using the Docker file. Okay, so then we'll discuss if we have 12 microservices, we need to write 12 Docker files. Okay, so what is the name of the Docker file is the Docker file itself. In this one is capital letter I'm writing. Can you tell me what is that? So in the Docker file, when we are keeping, okay, say I'll give 4 options. Can you tell me which one is correct? You need to tell. A is Dockerfile. In this, which one is correct? A, B, C, D. Which one is correct in this?
Number 2, the first letter should be capital.
That is the second one. Oh, no extensions, and only the D should be capital. Again, F is not the capital. Okay. So this is that. And if you have 12 microservices, we will maintain 12 directories. For each microservice, one Docker file we are going to keep. Okay, in each directory, we are going to keep one Docker file. In each directory, we are going to keep one Docker file. Okay, once you write the Docker file, command to build the images, the command to build the images, Docker build -t, image name, tag name, then dot. So dot is nothing but in my local directory, I have my Docker file. Okay, so then if it is Docker build -t, I'll write one example, my image colon 1.1. That is the tag name. My image is my image name. Then dot. Okay, so the dot is the Docker file is in my local directory, or Docker build -t. So this is one microservice name. If I give what is that meaning is in my like a local folder, I have one more microservice one. In that folder, I have In that folder I have the Docker file. What is the difference between dot and microservice one? What is the difference? If I use dot means in my local directory itself, I have my Docker file. But in my local directory, I don't have a Docker file. I have one more directory called as microservice one. In that, I have my
Dockerfile.
in that I have my Docker file. Like that, we need to give the path. Okay. And if I don't give, sorry, this hyphen T stands for if I don't give the tag means what's going to happen? It is going to create as the latest one. It is going to create as the latest tag it is going to allocate. If I don't give any tag name. Okay. And what is the name of the Docker file? Docker file. In that D should be capital. In that D should be capital. And what is the command to build the image? And how we can see the images is Docker images. So once we create the image, we are going to get the Docker images. Yeah. So what is the command to create the containers? Then from this image, say suppose if I want to run any container, Docker run hyphen name my Tomcat. Assume that the image is maybe my Tomcat container hyphen P 8084 colon 8080. Then hyphen D image I want to give is my new image 1.1. If I don't give any my image 1.1, what's going to happen?
It's going to take the latest one.
Yeah, it is going to use the latest one. Hence, exact that image we need to use. Yeah. Any doubts on this? Any doubts? Okay. So then, what are the instructions we have inside the Docker image? The first and one more important point is all the instructions we are going to give in the we are going to give in the or we are going to use like in the capital letters itself. It's not only the first letter. So your understanding is if you see that like a Docker file, all the capital letter words are the instructions. All the capital letter words are instructions. It's just like a keywords kind of thing. Those are just like keyword kind of things. Okay. And what is the first instruction? What is our first instruction? From is our first instruction. From is our first instruction. And from the from, like we need to specify the base image. We need to specify the base image. Base image may be from, so we are going to specify the base image either from OS image or any of the base image, like maybe Nginx base image, or maybe MySQL kind of base image, or OpenJDK, or Tomcat kind of base image. So like this we can take, or from the OS image. So in the OS image also, there is one image from Alpine, which is a Debian kind of distribution, which is very lightweight kind of OS. Okay. Say even we can use Ubuntu kind of thing or CentOS also. But why we are going to prefer to use Alpine is, why we are going to prefer to use the Alpine? That image is very lightweight. Say, is it recommended to create our own images either from the OS images or base images? Which is recommended? Which is recommended in the real time? Which is recommended to use in the real time? Okay, it's recommended to use the base images. Again, instead of taking the OS images, instead of building from those, better to use the Tomcat image or like this. Okay, so what is the first insertion of our Docker file? What is our first insertion of our Docker file?
From
From is our the insertion is mandatory. We should have the from itself. Okay, then the second instruction is maintainer. So what is the maintainer is? It doesn't have any functional or technical kind of importance. We need to specify the who is that maintaining that. We need to give the name or maybe email ID of the guy who is going to maintain that. Who is going to maintain that Docker file? Because the author may be different guy, but now it's maintained by someone who is responsible for that. That maintainer we need to maintain. Then if you have any doubts, we can contact him over the email, or maybe if you know that email ID, it's better. But if you give or if you don't give, nothing is going to happen. If you give or if you don't give, also nothing is going to happen. Okay. Then anywhere also you can give maintainer, but the first instruction should be from maintainer. At any of the Docker file you can keep, but mostly the best practice what we are using is the second line we are going to keep for maintainer. First one is anyhow it should be the from image itself. Okay, any doubts on this? After this, we are going to use most of the run kind of instructions. What run instruction will do is, it will install or it will run those commands on top of OS image of Docker. So that means inside the Docker image, we have an OS. On top of that OS, all the run commands are going to run. Okay, so these all like if you have a like maybe run CentOS, sorry, from CentOS I took. Then I have a maintainer, then run. If I give the run kind of things, say it's a CentOS, right? M update. Okay, so where that is going to run? Say you have a Linux mission, on top of that Ubuntu, you have a Docker. From this, you are going to use Dockerfile from CentOS. Can you tell me this M update or M install? Where these instructions would be running? Inside the CentOS or inside the Ubuntu mission?
Insert CentOS.
Inside the CentOS. That means run instructions are running on top of your OS image. Inside your OS image. More run commands adds more layers to your image. That means more layers will increase the size of your image also. Will increase the size of your image. Okay. So then we have one more instruction is there, working directory. Say where all this the path. Say normally once you log into your Ubuntu edition, what is your directory you are getting, and all the commands will execute in home Ubuntu. If you log in as a EC2 user, that is your working directory. Even for your inside the image also of the Docker of the CentOS, if you are using, or Alpine you are using, or Ubuntu you are using, you can set the working directory. Okay, whatever the commands or files will execute or copy to that working directory itself. It will be copied to that working directory itself. Okay, for that we need to give the path of this, where the files, all those we need to copy, or where the commands need to be executable. Okay, so for that we need to specify the working directory. Then I have my copy and add. So we have two instructions, copy and add. So what copy will do is, I have my maybe var file or jar file, or maybe .js kind of JavaScript code or PHP code. All these I want to copy from local mission to inside the image. Because if I have a clean Tomcat or clean OS, I don't have any use. With my application also, I need to have. Then, say, can you tell me what is this copy dot space dot? What is this meaning? If I use the copy kind of instruction, dot meaning is whatever where I have my Docker file is there, in the directory, whatever the files we have, copy to which directory? Inside the image, to which directory it is getting copied?
Into home directory.
Into the working directory, it is getting copied. Into the working directory, it is going to copy. Okay, so otherwise I'll tell one more scenario. I build a code, then I got copy in my target folder. I got maybe var file. I don't know the name of this. Then if I give dot, whatever in the target folder that var file is generated, that's I'm going to copy inside my image. So like this we can use. Okay, so local files. Local files we can copy inside image using copy. So there is one more is there, right? Add having a special category or special kind of functionality. Okay, we can copy from remote URLs. So can you tell me one example where we may keep those builds after you build, where we are going to store in the DevOps? So I'm a store in Artifactory. From there, I want to deploy. Then I need to use, so maybe that Artifactory URL I need to give. But here, this is target is in my local where I'm running the Docker image. In that local target directory I have. But what add can do? What add can do? Even we can copy the files to the image from
Remote URL.
from the remote URLs. That remote URL may be Artifactories or remote URLs. Very rare case we may keep in the GitHub also, but in the GitHub we are going to keep the source code. Okay. So then another one add is add can automatically extracts tar files. What is that meaning? If you have a tar or gunzip kind of files, if you use add, what's going to happen? What is going to happen? It is going to extract automatically. It is going to extract automatically. Any doubts on that? Say copy. If it is a tar file, it copies in the tar format only. But if I use add, once it copied, it automatically extract also. Can you tell me what are the additional features of add compared to copy?
You can also extract the files.
Yeah, it can copy from remote URLs. Okay, it can copy from the remote URLs, but which is recommended to use, copy or add? Which
Copy.
is recommended to use? Okay, so copy is recommended because always copying from the remote URLs inside the image is a risky kind of thing sometimes. For the security wise, it's a little risky kind of thing. If I copy normally, if I want to extract that one, then can you tell me which command I need to use? I have already copied, but I want to extract it means then which command I need to use? Which instruction I need to use inside the image to extract it?
Add.
No, add we are not using. We copied using copy itself, but the tar file is copied. But what I want to do is, I want to extract it. Then what I need to do? Then I need to use a run command to tar that XVF, that extract, and that command I can use using the run command. Are you able to understand? I can send from another run command. I can use it. Okay, so then after copy add, okay, say we can use the which of the port we want to expose. We can give the insertion by using the expose. Normally, if it is Tomcat, will expose 80. It won't expose technically. That is giving an insertion for us. Use this port number whenever you are using. Use this port number. Okay, so like this we are going to specify. Okay, expose doesn't do expose that port number, but it is going to tell us that this port we need to use it. Okay, so now when I am going to publish this port, host port, anything we can give. Inside the image, what is the port we have? Okay, that port we need to use. Inside that, if it is a Tomcat, for all those why we are using 8080 is in that Tomcat Dockerfile, they're telling like expose using 8080. In the server.xml, if you change that one to 8081, then what you need to add to your Docker file? Tell to the guys to use expose 8081. Okay, so like this, we are going to specify which port number we are going to use. What is the insertion? Can you tell me what are the insertions we have discussed till now? First one is
From.
from maintainer, run, working directory, copy,
and
add,
expose.
expose is another port number we have. Expose is the port number we have. Okay. So once we configured all this, so finally we are going to give one more instruction that is called as CMD. What is that? CMD. What is the command is in order to execute our containers, in order to execute our containers, we need one command. Okay, so previously we discussed, right? Yesterday we overridden one command to enter inside the container image. We use docker exec bin bash, but already every container will have one command. Okay, say in order to execute our containers, we need one command. Okay, if we specify multiple CMDs in our Docker file, then only last CMD will work. Means I kept CMDs 4 times inside my Docker file. Then which CMD will work? Which CMD will work for this?
The last CMD.
The last CMD itself, even if you specify, but that's not a best practice. But even if you use multiple times that CMD, the last CMD only is going to work. Okay, so once we configure the CMD, what is the purpose of this? If you don't have the CMD in your Docker file, what is the problem? If you don't have the CMD in your Docker file, what is the problem? Your container can't execute. Your container can't, say your container is crashing or is not starting, it's keep on exiting. One thing what we need to suspect is, so whether that container command has been given properly in your Docker file or not, we need to check it. Inside your Docker file, we need to check it, whether that command instruction has been given properly or not. Okay. Sure. Any doubts on this? So here Docker build already we discussed, right? Docker build -t image name tag name, and most of the instructions we have is from maintainer, copy, add, run, CMD, expose, and remaining all will discuss. Okay, so then here we'll discuss some of the Docker files. Okay, so can you tell me these in very easily, we can easily understand this. Okay, in this Docker file, okay, so what's going to happen? Can you tell me? What is the base image is we have taken the OS image or base image? Which one we have taken here? OS image or base image? Which one we have taken?
OS.
OS image. And what is that OS image? CentOS. Okay, then in this command, what it will do? What that will do?
It's making a new directory.
It's going to create a new directory where?
/opt/tomcat.
Yeah, in the CentOS image. And it is keeping that itself, that folder itself is working directory. Then what this command is going to do? Inside that image itself is going to download the, but if this path is not available in this Docker file, what we need to do? The latest which version of Tomcat download is there, that file we need to Okay, say which Tomcat version instead of 8.5.40, which Tomcat version we have, that one you try to use it. And here also you keep the same version. Okay, then this is going to install, this is going to install,
Java.
come again. Yeah, it's going to install the Java where in the CentOS machine itself. Okay, from Java version it's going to check working directory. Again, we are keeping web apps. Then I'm going to download this WAR file into, so instead of run curl, we can use one more instruction. What is that? Okay, so what it is going to do is instead of this curl hyphen o hyphen l, what we can do?
Wget.
Yeah, no, not wget. So we can directly use add command also. Okay, this directory path I can give in the add command, then automatically it copies. But normally we don't keep these kind of var files in the GitHub. Can you tell me uh, where we are going to keep? In the Artifactory, we are going to keep maybe Nexus or like JFrog. There we are going to keep.
So what is Artifactory?
So once we got the build, like through Maven, all this, we are going to store that Artifactory. Like maybe we'll use Nexus or Artifactory. We are going to use it. That URL we can provide here. Developers or everyone, if they want that version of the build, so you may download it Jenkinsware with the different versions. Okay, so like this we can specify which path you have in. It's not recommended to keep a GitHub path. In the Artifactory also you will get a one URL itself. From that URL we are going to download. To which folder it is getting copied in this scenario? To which folder it is getting copied in this scenario?
Sample web app.
Yeah, into
What?
Tomcat web apps. Because before that we kept a working directory, right? Okay, then what is the port number we expose?
8080.
8080. Okay, then finally we have CMD. So using this CMD itself, our container would be running. Using that CMD itself, our container would be running. Okay, what is the difference between run and CMD? What is the difference between run and CMD here? So run is running those instructions or whatever the commands we have, it is running inside the image. But CMD is used to execute your containers, it required. To execute your our containers, it required that port number is required. Sorry, that command is required. Mostly using your Tomcat image is running on catalina.sh run itself. And there is a slight difference between CMD and entry point that also we'll discuss. But as of now, in this use case, we have used CMD. Yeah. If you have any doubts, please ask. Any doubts on this? Say this is not the recommended way to understand the concept. We can build it from OS image also we are doing. Okay, but the similar kind of thing what we can use is we are going to use the from Tomcat image we are going to write it. So what we are doing in the real time is, so this is the simple. Okay, so what we are using the base image is again not the OS image. We have taken and you can keep the maintainer and we can copy that var file. If it is a remote URL, you can use the add, expose and the CMD. Okay, say both the methods are supported, but recommended is use the base image. Use the Tomcat kind of base image. Are you able to understand this one?
Sir, in this
Somebody.
one, what is the OS, sir?
That
Like
is
in
inside the Tomcat 9, they will take one more OS. So this is this Tomcat 9 is official image from Docker. When they are taking the Tomcat 9, already they will take one OS image. Maybe it's OpenJDK like this, Open Alpine kind of images. That's on top of that, they are going to build it.
okay, sir.
So you no need to give all those instructions.
Okay.
Mostly they are going to use the Debian kind of things. Debian means Ubuntu kind of. Otherwise, you can use the CentOS kind of OS images also.
Okay.
Is it fine?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so we have work with the Python kind of applications, right? Then what we can do is even we can keep the Python kind of things also. So now here, which version of Python it is using? 3, and it is setting some environment variables and working directory. What this pip install hyphen whatever the requirements you want to install, like maybe I want to install Django, Flask, all that I can use. And what this copy dot slash code it will do, or even if I keep copy dot dot also, because already the working directory is slash code, right? Okay, and finally we may need to give CMD kind of thing with the Python. What is the CMD? We have that CMD we need to specify. Otherwise, if it is a web-based application, we may need to specify which port it need to open also. Okay, so a sample Python-based application, and if it is Django-based or Flask-based, those all the binaries we need to install, or we need to specify using requirements.test. Requirements.test we need to keep it. Okay, so in the same way, if you have a Node.js kind of application, say for the Node.js, what is the image we are using? So if you have a Node 17, then Node 17 or Node latest, is it an OS image or a base image? So that's a Node.js image. And working directory, copying those JSON files and run npm, we are going to build it. And finally, what we are using the CMD, we are going to run it. Okay, if it is a Node.js application, that instructions we need to use. And here instead of Tomcat, if it is a Spring Boot application, directly we can use even OpenJDK also. And whatever the target or start.jar we got, we are going to use. There is a slight difference. Command and entry point, the purpose is same. Can you tell me what is the purpose? CMD, what is the purpose of CMD? In order to execute the container, we need to use
CMD.
CMD or entry point also the same purpose. There is a slight difference. CMD, the purpose is same. Okay, what is the purpose? To make the container executable. To make the container executable. Okay, so in the same way, even for this is for .NET based application. What is the base image we have taken? Microsoft/.NET : what is the latest tag we have that we need to specify? Almost all the instructions are same. Depends your technology image, the base image, which files you need to use. On top of that, what are the commands we need to install and how to build it. Okay, here they're using maybe .NET kind of build commands or npm kind of a Node.js. And finally, we need to use the CMD or entry point and expose the port numbers. Okay, so once we write this, all these we can use the Docker build kind of command to build the image. Okay, so any doubts? So you're not finishing all the videos which we have shared. If you follow that, it would be easy. So try to finish all those videos also. Okay, in the next class, finish all those videos. I'll show the lab. Is it fine?
Yes, sir.
Okay, finish all those tutorials by tomorrow and day after tomorrow. Dockerfile is very, very important. Remaining all not that much important because once we got the image, we don't use Docker. Everything we'll use in the Kubernetes only. Okay, so but images are required. That's the reason our own customized images, if we go to the Kubernetes, with the application, we can deploy that. That is the purpose we are going to use. That is the purpose we are going to use the Docker files. Okay. So try to explore this Docker file and all this how to build all those. I'll explain it and finish the videos also.
Okay, sir.